Hello, everybody. Welcome to all of you around the world as we celebrate World Meditation Day. Just imagine on this day, literally millions of people come together to celebrate oneness. That's what meditation shows us. I have to laugh this morning. Why do we meditate? This morning, I was at the kitchen table having breakfast, and my husband, Ty, looked over at me and he went like this. He made this motion like, you have something on your mouth. And I did. And it reminded me of that commercial that some of you may have seen where the person had a big mustache from drinking milk and they say, "Got milk?" And that commercial always reminds me of a sign I saw where they took that and turned it into "Got peace?" And that to me is the reason to meditate, to find this peace within us, this place, this state that never changes, especially this time of year. The world can seem very chaotic. And in recent years, our world has been very chaotic. There are many reasons why it becomes chaotic on a personal level, on a family relationship level, on a national level, on a world level. And meditation is the one way to bring you back. Oh, my guys just grabbed me. They said, not the only way. One of the best ways to bring you back to the center of you, to find that peace that never wavers. So today, in celebration of World Meditation Day, I have a little program prepared for you with the help of Spirit, in which I'm going to chat a little bit about why meditate. It's going to be short, but we'll hold your attention with a few stories. Then I have a very special guest, New York Times bestselling author and happiness expert. How's that for a job title? Much more than that. Marci Shimoff. I'll tell you more about her when we bring her on. Then I'm going to lead all of us through a guided meditation where you will have the personal experience of realizing that that peace that many people are looking for out there is already right here. And the power of all of us doing this together will just amplify that energy. So, I got the goosebumps just thinking about the energy that we're going to experience here together. Then I'm going to wrap it up with a powerful story, a personal experience I had that will hopefully ignite in you the remembrance of who you are and what we are. What do I mean by that? You are a soul. Dear one, is what my guides always say. You are not only human, but don't let me get ahead of myself. So I led an online class about a few days ago, and we have just made a major move across the country to a new home here. Set up the internet right away because I had to lead that class on a schedule. And 5 times in this class with about 1,000 students, my internet froze. And the class organizer was in the background saying, "We can't hear you. We can't hear you." And I felt the frustration building, and at one point actually dropped the whole connection. I've been told by quite a few people who attended that class that I served as a model for not losing your cool. How is that possible? Because you can imagine the stress that causes. How many of us have pounded our fists at our computer and lost our cool over just minor things like that, let alone the normal things that we encounter in our lives? Well, it's now about 19 years of daily sitting in stillness. I want to just let you know how I came to be a meditation practitioner. It happened because of the death of my stepdaughter, Susan, in 2006. I knew that I needed to find Susan somehow. Something in me, and I know now that it was the soul, told me that there's a part of us that cannot die. And meditation was not as well known, as well accepted as it is now. Back in 2006, I didn't even know how to do it or what to do, but I sat quietly, sat in stillness, which for me was a pretty unusual thing. I was at that time retired from the Navy, but the Navy commander was still very much a part of my life. I was very by the book, very rigid, very get it done, got to do it now type of person. My husband might tell you I still have a bit of that in me, but I sat quietly every day trying to see if I could sense Susan. That was my main intention for meditation. I had no idea that this would turn into a life-changing practice. Very quickly after starting this daily practice of sitting in the silence, I found myself much more peaceful. My normal reactions to stressful events just weren't there. I would become more calm. And this to this day has increased and increased to the point where I can have my computer crash and not lose it. So besides finding the peace, I also noticed that I started noticing my intuition coming back online. And I've learned since that meditation, the daily practice of stillness, quiets the left hemisphere of your brain, which is all analytical, logical, rational, and brings the right hemisphere online, the more flowing, intuitive side of you. So there's the scientific background to why we would want to sit in stillness. But to me, it's the personal experience of our true self, our true nature. If you're familiar with my work, you know all about my book, Wolf's Message, and our documentary that came out this year with the same name, Wolf's Message. It was a young man named Wolf, struck and killed by lightning, just like my daughter, Susan, who left absolute proof that we are souls. Well, I just had a conversation with Wolf's dad, Mike Prosakarnis, this morning. If you've watched the film, you know that Wolf's stepmother, Beth, has been in an ongoing battle with leukemia for 2 years, and she is truly struggling with that now. And of course, Mike, as her husband, is struggling with her and just facing a lot of pain. But we talked this morning, and he told me how his meditation has gone to a new level. And instead of panicking or giving into the fear, he's turned to meditation. He said he was going to watch a football game and have a couple beers yesterday, but something inside said, no, have a second meditation today. And in that meditation, he found the peace that has been eluding him for the past couple weeks. He said he was allowed, it permitted him to get in his hot air balloon and rise above what they've been going through recently. And that is exactly what meditation allows us. But I do want to tell you that meditation is not spiritual bypassing. It doesn't just allow us to not feel our feelings. It shows you where all of your feelings arise from this still point, the good and the bad. That there is this place within you that is completely neutral, that is beyond all the drama. To know that place, to find that place instantly is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. So speaking of gifts, I'd like to now bring in Marci Shimoff, but before I do so, I want to read her biography to you because I don't want to miss any of the great details. So Marci, as I said before, is a #1 New York Times bestselling author, a world-renowned transformational teacher, and an expert not only on happiness, but on success and unconditional love. She's one of the best-selling female nonfiction authors of all time. Her books include the international bestsellers, Happy for No Reason. And isn't that a goal for all of us? And Love for No Reason, and co-author of 6 books in the Chicken Soup for the Women's Soul series. If you want to be uplifted, pick up one of those books. She was a featured teacher in the international film and book sensation The Secret, which I know many of you are familiar with, and the host of the PBS TV show Happy for No Reason. She narrated the award-winning movie called Happy and leads a 1-year mentoring program, which is just starting up again in a couple weeks, called Your Year of Miracles. Through her books and her presentations, Marci's message has touched the hearts and rekindled the spirits of millions of people throughout the world. She's dedicated to helping people live empowered and joy-filled lives. Ty and I had the great pleasure of dining with Marci and her wonderful husband, Sergio. We've talked in person many times and online many times as well. And I can tell you that despite her great success, she is egoless and just her beautiful soul shines through. So I know you will feel that joy now as I bring Marci on to join us. Hey, Marci.
Oh, Suzanne, thank you so much for that. Thank you for inviting me to this. And I just want to start by letting everybody know that I am such a huge fan of yours, Suzanne. You are a wonderful friend. You are an inspiration to millions, and you are the real deal. So I really love getting to be here with you. And I'm so delighted to be here with everybody here today. Happy winter solstice to everybody, and happy World Meditation Day. It's really quite amazing that we have such a thing now that honors meditation. I mean, just the fact that last year the United Nations established World Meditation Day for the winter solstice every year. I mean, it's a global day that's devoted to raising awareness about the benefits of meditation. To me, it's extraordinary that the world is really acknowledging that inner peace actually matters and that consciousness actually matters. And it's really quite remarkable. And I know, Suzanne, you just spoke about how you started meditating. Well, I want to just share, for me also, meditation is very, very personal because I have huge gratitude for it. It absolutely transformed my life. As I've told you before, Suzanne, I was born depressed. I was not a happy camper. I came out of the womb with existential angst, and I had a great family and a great childhood, but I had this dark cloud around me. And so I was a seeker, and I was very fortunate that when I was 16 years old, I learned how to meditate. I started meditating. And that was back in 1974 when people did not meditate. For those people who are trying to do quick math, I'll do it for you. I'm 67 and I've been meditating, I think, for now, what is that, 51 years, something like that.
Wow.
And I was a junior in high school. And, something that is what really started to lift that heaviness and that stress that I had as a kid. And thank God for me that I found it. I found that I could find peace, moments of peace and joy, and it grew and grew. And when I went to college, at a college where everyone meditated.
Oh gosh.
The students, the faculty, and the staff, everybody meditated. And when I was 19, I became a teacher of meditation. And so I've been meditating and teaching for many, many years. And I just want to say that back then it was very woo. And now it is very scientific. It is accepted. And there's tons of research on meditation. In fact, I Googled meditation and how much research there was on it. And I found that there were over 20,000 studies on meditation. Who knew? 20,000, like, wow.
Yeah.
All kinds of things from the physical, how it helps our blood pressure and heart disease and immune system and all of that. And how it also helps our mental, anxiety and depression. And then also the spirit, and I know that's, Suzanne, so much of your connection to it, how meditation really connects us to the greater energy of life, that bigger energy of life. And it's literally, it's not just calming us down, it is literally reorganizing our system and awakening us to the truth of who we are. And yeah, so I know, Suzanne, I know you're familiar with the Institute of Heart Math.
Oh yes.
And I wanted to just share a little piece from them on their research, because I think it's really good for us as we're going into the meditation that you're going to lead, to know that they found that when we have just 5 minutes of feeling frustration or anger or upset, it can suppress our immune systems for up to 6 hours. But when we have 5 minutes of peace, love, calm, compassion, it can strengthen our immune system for up to 6 hours. So when you were telling the story about how you were on that Zoom and the internet was going down and most people's reactions would have been very stressful, you came in with the reaction of just being in a place of calm. It's all going to work out. And that was good for not only your own immune system, but for everybody else. And, one of my very favorite metaphors about meditation is from my friend Marianne Williamson. And she says that meditating in the morning is like taking a shower for your mind and soul. You wouldn't leave the house without showering and washing off yesterday's dirt and sweat from your body. So why would you want to start the day without meditating? Because that's going to clear the gunk of stress and fear and anxiety. It's how we do our inner cleansing. And And as you mentioned, the world is so chaotic right now. And we, I believe, have been very trained to bring our attention outward. All of our energy particles are going outward to what's the news and what are our cell phones saying, what are all devices saying, all of the activity. And what meditation allows us to do is to go inward, to bring our attention particles inward and find that place of stillness inside. So I wanted to share just a little bit. You asked me to share a little bit about the research on happiness with the
Yeah.
happiness set point.
Yeah.
So research found that we all have a happiness set point, and it's what determines our level of happiness. I was not raised with a high happiness set point. The good news about the happiness set point is that it is only 10% our circumstances, and it's 50% our genetics, and it is 40% our habits. And that 50% that's genetic can be shifted when we shift our habits of thoughts and behavior. So 90% of our happiness set point can be raised by our thoughts, our habits, our behaviors, not our circumstances. To me, that's freedom. What great news that we can actually shift our inner state, our happiness, by not depending on those circumstances, but by an inner raising of our set point. And I found that there are 21 main happiness habits to raise your set point. And to me, the most important one is the one on meditation, or on finding that inner peace, the soul. That is the most important one. And I'll just share one little story about this that I think is really, when I heard it, I was very touched by it. It's a story by Angeles Arian. Are you familiar, Suzanne?
No.
Angeles Arian was a cultural anthropologist, world-renowned cultural anthropologist. She passed away about 10 years ago. And she studied indigenous cultures from around the world and found what are those similarities. And she said that when someone wasn't feeling good, when they were feeling unhappy or depressed, then they would go to the local shaman or medicine person, and the shaman would ask them 4 questions. They would say, when did you stop singing? When did you stop dancing? When did you stop telling stories? And when did you stop spending time in the sweet territory of silence? And that sweet territory of silence is where we really touch the mystery inside, where we connect in with our deepest soul knowing, our wisdom. And the shamans would say that when we would lose any of those 4 things, we would lose our connection to soul. And so I just find that meditation is just the way to connect, and the way to also get the inspiration. And the last thing that I want to just share is my own experience. Suzanne, for you, what happened with meditation, is that it opened up for you that connection. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, it has brought me the greatest gifts. And the one that's perhaps the most dramatic was about 30 years ago. I was working really hard. I was, kind of stressed out. Even though I was meditating every day, it was not really handling the full amount of stress that I was experiencing. And one day, a dear friend of mine came to me and she said, Marci, you look terrible. Those weren't the words she used. She said, you are burned out, and I want to take you with me on a silent 7-day meditation retreat. And I looked at her and I said, you're crazy. I don't do silence for 7 days. I don't think I've been silent for more than 2 hours in my life. And she was very convincing. Off we went on a 7-day silent meditation retreat. And on the 4th day, in the middle of a meditation, a light bulb went off in my head, and I saw the words, chicken soup for the woman's soul.
Oh, wow.
And nobody had thought of any specialty books. The only book that was out there was Chicken Soup for the Soul, the original, that was written by my mentor, Jack Canfield.
Yeah.
There was one problem with the scenario, Suzanne. I still had 3 more days of silence, and I couldn't tell anybody my great epiphany. As soon as the silence was over, I ran to the closest payphone and I called up Jack and I said, chicken soup for the woman's soul. He said, oh my God, what a great idea. He called the publisher and who also thought it was a great idea. And that was the start of my career in books. And I credit that silence that I experienced in meditation. And, you know, what I also really appreciate about this day and what you're doing in bringing us all together is that the research has shown that when we meditate alone or on our own, it's wonderful. But when we meditate together in a group, there is a greater coherence that comes about. There's something called the 1% effect. And the 1% effect is that when a group of people come together and meditate together, they have an influence on the society around them. As a matter of fact, I participated in some of those original studies on the meditation of the 1% effect, where groups of thousands of people would come together and meditate. And so meditation is not just for ourselves, but it actually benefits the whole world when we meditate. And so I would love to just leave you all with a quote that I think is really why we are all here together today, Suzanne, why you brought this all together today. And it's a Chinese proverb that goes like this. It says, when there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the house. When there is harmony in the house, there will be order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there will be peace in this world. And my prayer and my wish for all of us who are here today is that we know that light in our own souls. And through that, we help contribute to greater peace on this planet of ours.
Wow. Wow. Marci, that is inspired. Thank you so much. As you said those words, I just feel they need to be on a poster and framed on everybody's wall in their homes.
I have them on a big banner in my hallway. So
Yeah, we need to special order that. I want that in my home. It's perfect. You just encapsulated, summarized exactly why we need to meditate. Thank you.
Well,
so much.
I thank you again for your light and for your insight and for your bringing together of this beautiful, amazing gathering of everyone here.
Well, thank you. It's an honor and an honor to have had you join us. So appreciate your time. Please stick around with everybody. Do the guided meditation here shortly.
I will be with you.
All right. Wow, isn't she beautiful inside and out? I hope you could feel that energy and that this energy is helping to uplift you no matter what you're going through. I was intrigued that Marci mentioned coherence because I wanted to bring up that word for all of you. Coherence means not shaky, not jittery, in phase, in step. And I have a little prop with me today that reminds me of my days when not just my military, but prior to the military, when I learned to walk in step. And that's when I played the piccolo in the marching band. Any bandies out there? And a beautiful way to understand coherence is to think of a marching band where you have the rows all marching in step, perfectly aligned. That's coherence. When your heart waves and your brain waves are in step, your brain's not running off the monkey mind chattering like crazy, and your heart is radiating this beautiful gratitude and love. All systems in your body come into coherence, and that is felt by you as peace. And you can imagine if one person in like the second or third row of the marching band stumbles and trips and reaches down to pick up their sheet music, which fell on the ground, everybody else behind them goes out of step, out of phase, and stumbles until they come back into coherence. And meditation is how you bring your body and all of its systems back into coherence, into harmony. So another way to use this prop in a meaningful way as we talk about meditation is to picture our bodies like a flute or any musical instrument. And I believe it was the 13th century poet Hafiz who said, I am a flute through which the breath of oneness flows. And the problem with us in human form is when we don't sit in stillness regularly, we become out of tune. So if you have an aversion to the word meditation, what if you just called it a period of attunement where you are tuning your instrument and you don't have to do anything other than sit in stillness and just be. And you'll notice that it's impossible to quiet the mind, but you start to notice that there is a part of you that is doing the noticing. There's a part of you that is aware of these thoughts that start bubbling up from nowhere. Marci had the gift of this brilliant thought of creating a new series within the Chicken Soup for the Soul series that led to beautiful insights and higher consciousness for the millions who have read those. That arose from the stillness. And you notice the more you sit in the stillness and simply watch your thoughts, how many of them can be negative, how many of them can be self-deprecating, how many of them are repetitious. So you just start to notice them. And when you notice that you can't stop them, you let them go. I think it's Pema Chodron who said, I am the blue sky. Everything else is just weather. So you notice how the weather changes all the time, but the blue sky of awareness, that's your true nature. And that's what we're going to have the chance to experience right now. Knowing that you can't completely quiet the mind, don't become frustrated, please, if thoughts arise. Just have in the back of your mind, oh, there's a cloud. Let it pass. And go back to the silence, go back to following my words. At times when I lead this meditation with the help of my guide, Sanaya, I will speak in terms of I. May my words be your words. I'm speaking for all of us here this morning. I'm not exactly sure how this meditation is going to go because it's not planned. I like to let spirit guide it, but I do find that it's always useful to enter a meditation with an intention. So our meditation intention today is very simple. It's to experience ourselves as that blue sky, to find the peace that never changes, that's right here within you, right now, always, no matter what's going on in your life, whether it's just the craziness of the holidays or you're facing a major challenge in your life, you're going to now, for at least a few minutes, experience that. And we're going to start, as always, with the breath, because that is the tool that will bring you into coherence, along with thoughts of gratitude, faster and easier than any other method. So I hope you'll set aside any distractions right now for a few moments and close your eyes with that shared intention. And I'm going to guide you through some breathing practices to help us drop into a beautiful, expanded state of consciousness. So here we go. Sitting quietly, become aware of the breath. Breathe in very slowly through the nose. In, 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 and exhale equally slowly through the mouth. Out, out, relaxing fully as you exhale, longer than you inhale, and dropping into peace. Place your hands gently on the belly, just below your navel. We'll call this the soul seat of awareness, the hara. Breathing in slowly, continuing with that practice. As you breathe in, state, I am this awareness. And as you exhale, very slowly state, awareness lives here. Place your hands now on the heart, continuing to breathe slowly, evenly. In this center of awareness of the soul, state, I am this heart-centered awareness. Breathing out, affirm, I am embodied compassion and love. Love lives here. Place one hand on the hara, the belly, one hand on the heart, but move your awareness up to the head. And as you breathe in, slowly affirm. The head is the center of insight. I am this insight. And as you exhale, affirm, with my head, my heart, and my hara aligned, I know truth. You can place your hands gently in your lap as you relax and continue to breathe slowly. How are you feeling now, having focused on the breath, having realized that the center of the soul is the center of you here in the body, that the body is not the enemy. It is the instrument of you as a soul. It is the way your soul has chosen to shine its light into the world. This peaceful state here is yours for the taking. To know truth, to know yourself as the expanded state, ask yourself, am I always happy? Probably not. Am I always sad? Probably not. These are states of awareness that come and go and flow, but they arise from one state, the pure state of being the one light of source, for a while shining as the ray of you. Be still now and know I am this light. Be still now and know I am. Be still now and know. Be still now. Be still. Be. Right here, right now, in the gaps between those short phrases, what did you experience? Those simple pauses when thoughts and phrases and sensations and feelings did not have time to arise from the one field of being the light, you experienced silence, peace, a lack of division, a lack of separation. This is your true nature. Undivided wholeness in flowing motion. Total connection with all that is. The light that never goes out. Feel it now. This. Here. Now. Aware awareness. Being. You. A beautiful light that plays your unique tone. And the 7 notes of your scale are ever present. Move awareness to the base of the spine and affirm, I am joy in expression. Feel that joy. It is ever present as an innate aspect of you, the soul. Move awareness up to the belly and affirm, I am peace. Peace is not outside of myself. It is here at the center of my ray. Move awareness up to the solar plexus and affirm, I am strength. No matter what is going on in my life, this source of strength is ever present. And when I take the time to sit in stillness, here I am as strength. Breathe it in and let it out. Move awareness up to the heart and affirm, I am courage. This courage is innately an aspect of the soul which knows it cannot be harmed. It is already whole. It is complete. It is your deepest essence. Therefore, this courage that never wavers or falters is here for the taking and the giving. Move awareness up to the throat and affirm, I am humility. Knowing I am the light of source, here to shine, I need not have an ego that needs to outshine others. I am humble at knowing I am this light, and it is my greatest honor to shine this light upon the world. Moving awareness up behind the eyes, affirm, I am gratitude. A gratitude that knows no bounds, for knowing I am the light of spirit, temporarily in form for the purpose of shining as brightly as possible. So much gratitude. And moving awareness to the top of the head, where all insights flow in from the cosmos, I affirm with pure knowing, I am love. And that this is a love that knows no bounds, that knows no separation, that is one with all that is, the one and the many, all at once, embodied here, now, through this beautiful instrument. And I am this. Moving awareness down through the instrument and back up, we find it balanced, harmonized, and in tune. Drop awareness to the heart and the belly. Rest for a moment in peace and knowing that you are totally connected to the source of all wisdom, all insights, and cannot be separated from it. Using this silence as the source of what will guide you moving forward. Ask this source now, what is it I most need to know now? And listen. Some clouds are more worth listening to and paying attention to than others. Some clouds that pass through the mind will stand out more than others. It is through the practice of sitting in stillness that the insights that will serve you best moving forward will stand out. Place your hands on your heart now and feel the gratitude for having experienced your deeper nature that is always present. Peace is not outside of you. Peace does not come solely from positive thinking. Peace is already here. Sending a wave of gratitude to the one light for whatever you have experienced here. As I count you back from 3 to 1, you will come back fully refreshed, recharged, inspired, and energized. 3, 2, 1. And welcome back. So simple, huh? But how many people take the time to do that? I hope you're familiar with my very simple 3-minute practice called the Sip of the Divine. It stands for Sit in Peace. You can find it on YouTube. Just search my name plus Sip of the Divine. And if you don't know where to start with a meditative practice and you want to feel that peace and practicing noticing the weather, observing the clouds, and noticing what stands out, the Sip of the Divine is a beautiful place to start. I promised you a story. I hope you enjoyed that practice. I want to just stay in that beautiful, loving energy. I thank all of you for adding your energy to that. I just want to float away right now. But I do want to tell you a story that showed me how important meditation had become in my life and how it has transformed my life. I had the honor of speaking at a spiritual conference some years ago. And at most of these conferences, there are vendors who sell all kinds of tools that promise to help us raise our vibration, increase our sense of connection with all that is. And many of them are very helpful, crystals and things like that. And there was one gentleman there that had a product that I had never seen before. It was a little gadget with a special light, kind of like a laser. And he came up to me and he said, "Are you familiar with this? We'll call it a light." And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "It's using a special new technology based on quantum physics. And if you shine this light on yourself and meditate with it, it will raise your vibration. And I know that you, as one who connects with spirit, could really benefit from this because it will bring you to an amazing state of coherence." Oh my gosh. I was excited by this because at that point, anything I could do to raise my connection, to help me communicate better with those who have passed, was right up my alley. And I said to him, "How much is it?" And he said, "Well, it's normally $600. But because you're one of the speakers, I can offer it to you today for $300. And I thought, oh my, that's a lot of money. Even $300 was a lot of money for something that I wasn't guaranteed would work. And my first thought was, how am I going to tell my husband I spent $300 for this little laser light? To his credit, anything that I want, I will say, whatever you want, dear. He's just wonderful in that regard. But still, I was hesitant. And I said to the man, you're going to be around a while? He said, yeah, I'll be here for the whole conference. And I said, okay, I want to go meditate about this. And I'm so proud of myself that that was my first response, right? I'm going to go within and I'm going to ask my higher self and spirit and my guides, do I need this? Is this something worthwhile? And I hope you will all get in the practice of that, no matter what question you're facing. So I went up to my hotel room because the conference was in a hotel. And I sat quietly and I have a practice called 7 Steps to Higher Consciousness called the Bless Me Method. And that's also on YouTube. And I went through the 7 steps to make sure that I got my ego self out of the way and went from that I need this state. Do I need this? I don't know what to do. A little bit fearful about spending money. I went from that to that nice expanded state of consciousness that we all just experienced right now. And you all have the opportunity to ask a question in that state. That is the optimal state to ask questions. So now that I'm calm and centered, I ask the question of my guides, do I need this? And they pointed out to me right away, what were you feeling beforehand? Tension, restriction. That in itself is an answer, everybody, right? But they showed me the contrast between that and what I was experiencing was paramount. And then I got a message that came without any words. And with this deep knowing, I got up from the hotel room. I knew I would find the guy immediately. He didn't have a table. He was just wandering around the conference. I came off the elevator and there he was, right there. And I walked up to him and he said, well, have you made a decision? And I said, I have. And I said, I don't want to buy the light. And he said, oh, really? Why not? And I said, because I am the light. And the man blinked and he looked at me and he said, you know, if everybody realized that, I would be completely out of business. So there is no magic pill for finding peace. It's already here. I know that today plant medicine is a big thing and psychedelics are a big thing. And I know that those take us to expanded states. They can give you the experience of the state you just had in that meditation. Personally, I have not tried either one, and I don't care to because I love the predictability and the presence of just being. I don't want to have to rely on something outside of me for something that's already right here and is free, right? An extra benefit. So we're here to experience and flow with all life has to offer. So enjoy the crystals, try what you're called to, but never forget you are this light and you came here to shine. And it's days like today, World Meditation Day, that give us a chance to remember that and motivate us to have a practice of stillness. Call it meditation, call it attunement, whatever it takes to experience that beautiful quote that Marci shared with us and harmonize not only ourselves and our families and our nations, but our world. Thank you for joining us from around this world. Marci, thank you. I thank my team of assistants for putting this together today. And I just send blessings to all of you. Thank you for the love in our Wake and Wake community that is just radiating our light out to the world. I love you all, and I'll see you back here for our weekly podcast regularly. But thank you for joining me for World Meditation Day today.